Hello, DJ Podcast. Well, that's a fun one. Coming in on a thunderstorm to this podcast tonight. Day after Thanksgiving, 2023. I had a really good Thanksgiving. Went with friends. Went to a friend's house. Had some dinner. We talked. We laughed. It was a lot of fun. Anyways, no, this won't be an episode about Thanksgiving. That's lame. It's not what the podcast is about. It's just kind of sharing my, let's just get some story going. Just roll the vibes. But this episode is going to focus on what is consciousness, and ultimately, I think we kind of know what it is. We know that certain creatures have it and other creatures don't. Right? The idea of death, the idea of realizing that when you look in the mirror, you know that you're looking at you. It's awareness. It's we all have it. Right, it's consciousness, and see the real thought about one of the real thoughts that I've been having lately that I want to share with you is I want you to just imagine a world, a universe, a cosmos. Just expand as far back as you can physically expand back to. Okay, just mentally imagine, zoom way out. And just imagine all this vastness, all this space, and nothing to observe it, like zero consciousness. Like it's just kind of, boy, that would really truly make everything feel meaningless, right? If there wasn't consciousness immediately brings meaning to the world. It immediately brings meaning to something. Like there almost in my mind there almost has to be there's almost zero the chance of nothingness, the chance of when you die and you get nothingness, to me is probably right around 0.0001%. Right? I am willing to come around and say that the opposite of spirituality, the opposite of having a soul, is atheism, right? It's saying that after you die, literally nothing happens. And if that's the truth, I'll believe it. I could believe it. I can accept it. I don't want to deny that truth, because without exploring, that this is something to remember. Without exploring the opposite thought, okay, no matter what it is, political, spiritual, even just something as simple as doing a science experiment of does adding a rock create the cup of water to overflow? Like, is that really the reason why the cup overflow? Meaning even just taking a science experiment as simple as that could have been the jump start of one of the greatest discoveries of all time. You know what I mean? Like to be aware of your surrounding, to observe it, to do science experiments with your surrounding, starting a fire. There was a day that starting a fire and being able to cook your food completely changed the world. and we look at it today as give me a match and some lighter fluid. You know, it's in my house right now. I can click the stove and there's fire. It's not that big. It's not that great. But in that moment when it was first discovered, it would have been like the internet, right? Like the first time that we went to the internet and actually learned something from it or shared something from it. It would have been that big. So anyways, I like to imagine that at the very least, having a consciousness of being aware, self-aware, is one of the greatest gifts that you were ever given. We were able to build society and invent and create science and live on this planet and explore it. And boy, I can turn on my TV and see the other half of the world. The movies and everything, just all the experiences we can have. It is only possible if we are conscious. Meaning, if we weren't completely self-aware and conscious of everything that's going on, like even me sitting here talking to you through this microphone would be pointless, right? If we couldn't, especially even though it gets frustrating, in certain debates. Like, I'm not a flat earther, never will be. I'm too scientific for it. Like, I'm not a huge conspiracy theorist guy, but I'll go through them. You know, the ability to debate, to talk, to communicate with all the people, and have an experience and have. See, it's so fun for us to have an experience. The thing about it, we create theme parks and roller coasters, SeaWorld, like giant aquariums and stuff. All these different things that we do to try and entertain. The entertainment business. A circus, whatever it is a huge business. Just globally, just put a huge blanket over it and just call it the entertainment business. Probably 50, 60, 70% of the entertainment business is trying to give you a physical experience. Like I said, a theme park, a ride, something like a haunted house. You know what I mean? Like these experiences are kind of what we live for, right? And that's why we travel. We want to experience life on just the other side of our planet. Even like one of the greatest parts about living in the United States that I think we're all very fortunate for, and something all people from the United States kind of take for granted, is the fact that we could experience blizzards, heat waves, the desert, mountains, valleys, plains, hills, cornfields, cows, the windmills in the Midwest. Go driving through Indiana and Kansas and all these flat states, and you get all these windmills. Just all these things we see and we invented. It's mind-blowing if you think about it. Now, I want you to go back to that zoomed out moment and think about your soul. And just think about, and I think we all kind of believe in a soul, right? I think it's hard, it's hard for us to say that we don't have a soul. If someone was to try and convince me of that, I'm not sure that they could. I would love to hear the evidence, right? The evidence of saying that we don't have a soul. Actually, I want
1890. You go to a funeral.
son of a.
And your friend.
This is Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Frederick just died, let's say, and you go to the funeral parlor, you don't say, hey, which room is Freddie in? You say, where is the body of Fred? We all say that. That's a tacit admission that the body of Fred is not Fred, that Fred is something else that's no longer there. And that matches perfectly with the concept of a soul. But even if you don't believe in souls, you're probably still the person who's going to say, where's the body of Fred? So you recognize there was something there when they were alive that isn't there when they're dead. Well, what is it that was there when they were alive? Well, we have some evidence for this. The neurosynapses of your brain. And how do we know the brain is you? Because you can stroke out bits by bits of your brain. We do the scan of the brain and the whole sections that just shut down. And as that happens, if it's a multiple strokes rather than one massive stroke, as that happens, you lose the ability to speak. You lose knowledge of who you are, of where you, all the things that we associate with you. You lose your personality. And in the limit, none of your brain works except the basal motor functions that keeps your heart alive.
So just think, like, the idea of a soul is nothing new. It's nothing, it's been around forever, for a really, really, really long time. And it's kind of like, it only makes sense to me that there has to be something that lives on forever. So when I sit here with all the spirituality stuff, I just like, like raising your frequency, this and that, the whole, this Bashar guy goes into aliens and see, there you go. Now we have a whole nother being from a whole nother planet where it's like, yeah, I believe in aliens. I do, 100%. We have so much video footage of it. How could you not, really? And it's like, they have consciousness. So it's like a connection. And that's why I'm not really super afraid of like an alien invasion. I mean, Bashar and all the spiritual people would say that the and I agree with this, that a advanced race isn't evil. They're too smart to be evil. So, and that's kind of the way I've come to that conclusion. And it's weird, since I've started this whole spirituality thing, I will come to the conclusions first and then hear a video that confirms it. That's how all of this has been. I'm thinking of this, and then all of a sudden a new video pops up, and it's like, oh, yep, there it is. And is it just another person? Obviously, it's another person who just thinks like me, right? And of course, there's AI on these apps, all these apps, in social media and stuff like that. It knows you so well, and it's just like, you mention it once, and it's there. It's on your phone. It's so crazy. It's so crazy. But and the more I look into it, the more I just think to myself, like what is a soul? I got one clip from Bashar that I want to play. Actually, this one here is Daryl Anka. It's the channeler of Bashar. It's not actually Bashar, but here we go.
If you realize that there are an infinite number of parallel realities, it means there are an infinite number of parallel versions of Earth that coexist simultaneously right now. So he's basically saying you never actually change the world you're on. You change yourself, and you shift yourself incrementally to different versions of Earth that already exist that are more and more and more reflective of the change you make within you. People may still exist on the world you left behind, but you may never interact again because they may actually be on another vibrational level of Earth that exists simultaneously with the one you've shifted to. And when you think of yourself as an indestructible, eternal, infinite being, nothing is ever really lost. If you realize that.
So keep in mind that they're always talking about changing your frequency, and I've mentioned on the podcast before, your physical basically the idea is that your physical body never leaves the planet. You just shift it to the reality that you prefer. And then people will say, well, I don't prefer this. Why am I sitting here in this? It's because your soul chose this. It was an agreement that you and your soul made. Yeah. To go through this challenge, the challenge of Earth. Earth is a very challenging planet. It's a very challenging planet to live on, and that's the idea of it. It is a thing where advanced souls go to, right? It's not a beginner soul planet. It's a planet that you go to after you've already lived a few lives, like past lives. You've already lived them. So you have to remember that when you're sitting here on this planet. And for some reason that thought helps me out, regardless of how true or false it is. That feeling helps me out. Like, it's like, oh, my soul is old and wise enough to handle this planet, it's just like, it's like, wow, like the journey your soul has been on, and where you're heading, what you're doing, you don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows, really, and it's kind of like, what else is there but the experience? So what else should you do other than give your soul what it wants? Give your consciousness what it wants. It's guiding you towards something good. It's guiding you towards something great. And that's why you keep your frequency high. You have free will. Even though your soul set you on this challenge, think of it kind of like a video game. You can choose easy mode, or you can choose hard mode, or God mode, or expert, or whatever. All pro Madden mode. You know what I'm saying? You have the different modes. It's the same game, right? No matter what mode you set your video game on, it's the same game. It's a little harder. The goal is a little bit harder to achieve, but it's the same game, right? And if you think about it, a video game is like a simulation, right? The players in the game all think that they're real. So there we are. We're kind of like the video game character's higher self. I think it's Fable. The Fable games, you can go on a good path and you can go on an evil path, and the storyline changes a little bit. And there's other video games now that are coming out with that, where it's like what you do in the game affects the ending of the game. It affects the outcome of the game. And it's like, oh, that's actually kind of a really good analogy if you think about it. So it's almost like we do have the ability here to say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it that way. But what's the result that we're looking for? The result we're looking for, the result that your soul is looking for, is the best experience. The best experience. Yeah, life brings you challenges. How do you handle that? What do you do to handle it? Do you fall apart, break down and cry? Hopefully not any longer than a couple of days. There's always that moment where you just feel hopeless, and it's good to cry. It's good to let it out. It's good to bring your emotions up. But then all of a sudden you let your emotions feel that fire, that passion, to say, you know what, I'm stronger than this moment, and move on. Right? That is ultimately what your emotions are doing for you. They're pushing you to say, hey, this doesn't feel good. I'm going to go do something else. Like, I have to change the path that I'm on. And, isn't it interesting how a lot of times we see the happiest people are the people that don't have everything? Like the people in wheelchairs. paraplegics, or like Stephen Hawking's had that. I forget what the disease was. It's like you see some people that you would think to yourself, they're an amputee or something. You think to yourself, boy, it's gotta really be it's gotta really feel bad to be in that situation, Like we take pity on them. Unconsciously, we take pity. Subconsciously, we take pity on. It's like, boy. But they are the best spirit. They're the highest spirit. They're happy. They're enjoying lives. That moment in life that they'll tell you about it and be like, yeah, it was rough. It was tough. But now I'm back to playing basketball. It's like wow. Those inspiring stories where you go, wow. But yet every single time at the end of the day, it's like, what am I doing? I have feet. I have the ability to do whatever, it's not like I'm that physically restrained, it's like, oh, I should start doing something that I like doing. What's really stopping me from doing the things that I like doing? Well, life and money and all that. Okay, how are we gonna get past it? Well, you take it just one day at a time. You just find one task. Sometimes you almost have to build your confidence. You just have to build your confidence. Do the laundry. All right, good. I've accomplished something today. Make yourself dinner. I've accomplished something today. It's like each step is an accomplishment, and then keep building up. Keep building up to something new, something great. I tell a lot of people. I moved to Colorado blind. I've never been to Colorado before moving here. Well, why did you do that? I needed a change. Well, that was really bold. You know how many people tell me I would have never done that? You just get up and move. I took stimulus check money, COVID money, taxes, return money, all this money. Man, put everything into it. Just trying to make a new life. Everything falls apart. Get divorced, this and that and this, bop, bop, bop. And now I'm sitting here in my place, warm, heat's on, the shower water's warm, I got a computer, I got food, I don't have a lot of stuff, but I got stuff. I'm doing okay. And it's like, boy, well, here's the moment where hard work does pay off, and it's like, how boring and dumb it is to continuously keep waking up and doing my job. It's terrible. It drags you down. Sucks the life out of you a little bit. And it's like, if I could just find that one thing that makes my day go well, then I'm gonna do it. Hopefully, stay away from the habits. Stay away from the things that spiral you down into darkness. You need to find a positive activity. Reading a book, even, just something, watching a movie. It just, I'll never forget, just my first night by myself. I sat around and I counted the objects I possessed, and I was at 12, and that was it. It was like, boy, I could count everything that I own. It didn't feel good. It just did not feel good. You lost so much, and it's like, it's tiring. But now it's like, hey, I couldn't count how many things I have right now. Doing good. Not too much though. Where if I had to pack, find something new, find a cheaper place, Maybe I buy something. I'm not overwhelmed with stuff. Just keep the essentials. Remember that. Because there's a thing in life where it's like the horizon, like border, where it's like you'll set goals for yourself, and then you'll reach them, and then be like disappointed that you reach them. It's like, take a moment, pat yourself on the back, you reached the goal, set a new one, go for that new one. Always keep a new goal. If you never have a goal, you'll fall into depression. Keep the goals obtainable. Have goals for today. Have goals for next week. Have goals for next month. Have a goal for next year. So keep these little goals obtainable, and you'll find that you start knocking them off the list. What's holding you back from your excitement? Oh, my job. Find a better job. Dave, it's so hard to find a better job. I hate finding a job. Okay. Do you want things to stay the same or get better? All right. Find a new job. When you find a new job, it pays more, you like it, bam, bam, bam. Certain other things will start lining up. Oh, I want a relationship. A new relationship. Especially people who go, I want a new relationship. You find that first new relationship? No. It was just like the old one. Right? Don't fall into these patterns. Learn from your mistakes. If it feels just like the old relationship, get out immediately. Don't let it drag on. Learn your lessons. Right? If you want to live in a new reality, you have to manifest a new reality. And the way you manifest a new reality is take your experience and become wise with it, right? Make yourself wiser. I know how this plays out. I'm not going to keep doing it. I know how this plays out. I'm not going to keep doing it. Or you're going to see, you're just going to spiral back down to a lower frequency, a lower vibration, a lower area of your life, and it's gonna be like, wow, this is not great. How do you raise your frequency? You start doing the things that make you. You act on your highest passion that is available to you and execute it and have fun with it. Right? Raise your frequency. Stay positive, and it will fall in line with you. So anyway, one of my biggest advice to you also is to learn and focus on meditation. Why? Because meditation brings yourself to your consciousness. It brings yourself to your soul. When you're really stuck on something, start meditating. I did. I just pulled up YouTubes about it. People will say to me, let me share with you something that helped me with my meditation. People will say to me, Dave, I can't concentrate on meditation. My voice never shuts off in my head. And I don't know how to not think. I don't know how not to think about nothing. Okay. Sit down. Put a meditation sound on. I do the crickets. I played you the crickets. I played you the train. The thunderstorm one is a little loud for me. Don't like it. The idea when people say empty your mind, okay, for the meditation, the idea is not to talk about nothing. The idea is sometimes to literally empty your mind. I sometimes will just start to speak out loud all the issues that I'm having and all my frustrations and speak it out loud and literally empty your mind. Say it. Say it to yourself out in the car. Just say it. And sometimes saying everything helps you. It helps you go, all right, there, it's all out. Now I'm going to sit here and just relax. Go with the flow. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. And eventually, you will get to a point in the meditation where you have some sort of phrase in your head. And I was trying to meditate for pain, back pain, and I go, eventually, though the idea was to alleviate the back pain, eventually I got down to this moment. And my phrase was, let the pain fall out my back. Let my pain fall out my back. Let my pain fall out my back. And I just kept repeating it to myself and repeating it to myself and repeating. And then I started the breathing. Only silently, like through my nose. I'm just giving you the pace. I'm just giving you the pace. Inhale. Exhale. So I do it silently through my nose. And then all of a sudden, my brain just hit this state. And I almost couldn't get out of it. I felt stuck. I felt like I was trapped for a moment. Just sitting on the floor, just trapped. Because almost like my soul left my body for a minute and just said, all right, I'm gonna help you get some answers. We're gonna go and talk to your higher self, blah 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 blah. And then I come back and I feel like I got some answers. And it feels good. It feels good to come out of meditation. It really kind of makes your night. Once you kind of learn it's one of the coolest things is when you kind of learn how to do it and you practice it and you don't give up on it, because it will help you. It'll help you feel better, and it'll help you stay positive, which is one of the main goals of meditation is trying to find enlightenment in it, trying to find positivity, and trying to focus on being your best self. It's part of it. And then I think about shifting your parallel. I think about shifting your reality that you see to the to a different dimension, a parallel Earth. And it almost, in my mind, it almost has to be where the idea of parallel universes and parallel Earth to me, at first it just sounds kind of far-fetched and crazy, right? But when I stop and think about how the yin and the yang, the positive, the negative, the extremes on this planet, like the fact that, and I've said it before on some of the other podcasts, you got people with $0 and you got multi-billionaires. People spending $40 billion on social media platform, buying a social media platform, but never quite actually spending any money. Just making trades that are worth $40 billion, right? It's not like Elon had pull out cash, $40 billion cash, write a check. Here's a stock transfer for you, And it's kind of like, boy, me and that person live on the same planet. It's like, how is this possible? How is it possible that some people on this planet have clean water and some people have dirty water, right? How is it possible that some people are literally starving to death and other people have we have appetizers, the main course, and dessert. A meal for us is three different things, and sometimes a salad or a soup, which for a lot of people would be a meal in itself. So you can have a salad, a soup, an appetizer, a main course, sides, and dessert. All there at your disposal, right? Whether you eat it or dispose of it, it's at your disposal. But then in other countries, in other parts of the exact same planet, there's people starving. And it's like, man, how is there not a parallel universe where the starving person is the billionaire? You know what I mean? It's like that's the change. So it's like, so how do we get to that parallel universe? How do we get to the parallel universe where I want the one where everybody prospers equally? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the one where there aren't any homeless. There aren't any hungry. There is education for all. There is health care for all. You are able to pursue your happiness. You know, you're not being controlled by the big corporate machine. Like, that's the reality I want. So how do I shift myself to that reality? How does that happen? And hey, if being my highest self, if doing what excites me the most in that moment is what it's going to take for me to transfer myself to that, raise my frequency, raise my vibration, well, I don't, what else can I try? You know what I mean? Like what can I do? What can I do? You know, I look at the corruption in the church, in the religions, and I think, how could they have the answers? You know? And I look at the vast nothingness of being an atheist and go, why, how could I have ever completely thought that you there's a chance that you don't exist? You know, I'm always saying in my other episodes, you exist. Yeah, that's your soul. It lives on forever. That's actually your soul. You should be thinking of your soul as the main part of you. That's the part that is in control. It's the part that's making the decisions. Ultimately, it's choosing whether or not you have another life here on this planet. If you don't learn your lesson, if you don't figure it out, you get stuck. You get stuck at a lower vibrational frequency in a crazy fucked up world. Try again. Try what again? I don't know. Figure it out. You're the experience. You're half of this body. You'll figure it out. I'm just here trying to guide you. Like, that's your highest self. I'm just here trying to guide you through this physical world that you have manifested for yourself. So just, you know, it's all, you know, what is it? You know, what are we actually doing here on this planet? The only thing that makes sense, like I said, picture all of this without consciousness, without at least animals, deers and dolphins and whales. And I mentioned dolphins because of how smart and intelligent and aware they are. You know, we're not the only creatures that are aware of who we are. Other creatures have that exact same awareness to them. But what they're not doing, you know what these creatures are not doing? They're not paying for shelter. You know? Well, I guess we live in a society, right? We live in a society. We have a market. We have a housing market. You know, I meant market like food market. You know, we have all these things that you would expect to see in this society. But in the richest country on the planet, not even the most populated, the richest country on the planet, hell, here we are, corporate America. But yet we refuse to put that money to the people. We refuse to put that money into actually solving countrywide problems. And I think to myself, how do we not? In the long run, it would be cheaper to have the universal health care, universal education. Eventually, you're going to need a UBI as soon as universal basic income. You're going to need that. What are we going to do when there's 20-30% unemployment rate because of self-checkouts and automated businesses, right? What if McDonald's goes 100% automatic and you only need one employee to Just kind of make sure everything keeps running good. Just grease this and oil that. Dude, I'm not talking about the French fries. I'm talking about the machines. Just make sure these machines keep running. Okay. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, load it up with fries or whatever you gotta do, Like put burger meat down and, you just, you just kind of sit back and watch it. What if that's the training? What if the training one day is, you just push this button, that button, and the McDonald's is running now, You're just kind of here to make sure that it keeps running. Like, that's your job. But it costs one person to run it instead of 20. You know what I mean? Because as long as it's cheaper, as long as it's more expensive for a company to pay you $1 an hour, they're gonna want to pay you $0, right? A really good company will see value in people. We'll see value in people who live in this country. Helping out people who live in this country. Right? And and eventually, honestly, you do kind of want to see, well, I don't want to see one world government because that sounds crazy, but we want to see all the countries just agree. I just want the countries to agree. Because the only way to solve global warming is to put in global effort. If we don't start putting global effort into global warming, it ain't gonna get fixed. That's why I do think there will be a major life event. I kind of think in my lifetime I see the coastlines flood. I'm not gonna lie. Here's how crazy I got about it. That's part of the reason why I moved to Colorado. My area won't flood. If Colorado floods over, then we're all doomed. Could you imagine? I'm 7,000 feet off the ground right now. We better not flood. You know what I'm saying? Man. That just sounds crazy. But then you look at it and go, wow, every major disaster humanity has been through, we struggle through. Black Plague, wars, COVID it's here to stay forever, but it kind of feels like we got out of it. We just keep rolling towards like there is hope, there is advancement. Every now and then you see advancement and positive change happen. Because ultimately, no invention is inherently evil. It's what you do with the invention, right? That's one of the biggest things you gotta remember. It's not what you do with nuclear power. You should be powering towns with it, but and not making bombs with it. But it's his life. We live on a planet that can blow itself up, right? And it is almost like, yeah, you know what? You know why we haven't blown ourselves up yet? Some aliens intervened with their plans and turned off the nukes, right? That's actually one of the theories. And there's documented evidence. Yeah, that's the aliens turned off the nukes. That's what happened. Okay, all right, cool. Yeah. I believe you. Really, when it comes to things that shock me these days, nothing shocks me anymore. Nothing goes, oh, wow, that's crazy. I can't believe that. It's like, nah, you have 9/11 and all these horrible disasters. And then you have people just living it up, Hollywood land, millions, billions of dollars, nothing's wrong going on in their world. Nothing affects them. Nothing affects them. They get a speeding ticket. They get a no parking ticket. You got enough money. If you got enough money, everything's legal. That's what it feels like, right? You have enough money, you get away with anything you want. Anything you want. It's his life. I'm not bitching. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying. So what excites me? That's a pretty good message. I like that. What excites me? That sounds like a good message. Is it Darryl Anka? Is he crazy and pretending to channel this guy, or is that real? I hope it's real. I think it's so interesting. All his TikToks, I heard them and favored them. They're so interesting to me. I love it. I just bought a new book. Actually, I think that's where we're gonna end this podcast. I bought a new book and I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna go through it. It's a spiritual book. I'm gonna call it Season 2 of the podcast. Season 2 is gonna be me going through the book as soon as it gets here. It should be here in, I don't know, a week, something like that. And it'll be fun. It'll be really interesting to kind of get another perspective on all this spirituality and stuff like that. Anyways, my name is Dave, DJ Podcast. What is consciousness? Just think about that. The entire universe, the entire cosmos, not being experienced. To me, that is the saddest thing ever. So if our consciousness doesn't live forever, and this physical reality isn't just some projection coming through our consciousness, and we're just not like artificial, I strongly feel it. We are biological artificial beings living out a physical reality. And that is our purpose in life, is to experience. And our soul is kind of steering the ship a little bit. And as long as we ask for positive, you get in what you get out what you put in. You put in positive, you're gonna get positive. Sometimes the world is shitty, yeah. We live on a challenging planet. Try to make it a little less challenging and become the best you that you can be. So I'm going to take you out again on this thunderstorm. Hopefully we get a good thunder crack here. DJ Podcast, my name is David James. Let's keep on rolling. Roll with the flow.